Good evening and welcome to the Standing Committee meeting of the Durham District School Board, Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Before we begin the agenda this evening, I'd like to note that we have a new Code of Conduct for public meetings in place that is intended to ensure a safe and respectful environment for everyone in attendance. It encompasses our previous approaches to public attendance at meetings, but puts it in writing to make expectations and consequences clear for all. It is my hope that we have a successful and respectful meeting this evening. The Code of Conduct will be displayed at each public meeting and is available on our website. The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. Are there any declarations of interest this evening? I'm seeing none. There are no declarations of interest at this time. Could I have a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda? Chair Edwards and Trustee Oldfield. Thank you. The agenda is approved as distributed. We'll now be moving to the agenda item 5A, community presentations. The Durham District School Board welcomes presentations by individuals and groups at standing committee meetings, and tonight we have one presentation. We ask the presenter to limit the presentation to 5 minutes to allow time for questions. Should a presentation reach 5 minutes, the presenter will be notified by a staff member and will be requested to conclude the presentation. The committee will not debate the topic of any presentation. I'd like to remind the presenter that the presentation should only include the material that was submitted for approval, and there will be only one speaker for the presentation. So tonight, we welcome Wendy Chan from the Teacher Mentors Abroad program. Wendy? Wendy, once you have finished your presentation, trustees will be permitted to ask questions of clarification. Please go ahead when you're ready to read your approved presentation. When you're ready.
I'm currently in my 28th year of teaching here at DDSB, which includes my role as coach at the board for a couple of years. I began my collaborative work with TMA in 2019, where I traveled to Santo Domingo. The vision for this organization has its roots here in the Durham District School Board. While serving as a school trustee from 1997 to 2003, Nancy Lorraine came to understand the role of professional development in quality education for students and desired that same quality for education for students in her homeland in the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic has among the lowest scores in reading, math, and science on PISA, the Program for International Student Assessment. In 2005, at the request of teachers in a very marginalized school in the Dominican Republic, a group of Canadian educators traveled to the DR to provide workshops on best teaching and learning practices. They expected 20 teachers to attend, and 80 teachers arrived. The Dominican said, "You've brought us the appetizer, now we want the full meal. We will be agents of change." The following year, 120 teachers attended the workshops. and what began at one site has now expanded to 4 locations throughout the country, with hundreds of educators attending annually. Most significantly, our Dominican mentor teams now lead the workshops. DDSB educators have been serving in key roles since our inception. Recently, I served as co-leader of the Canadian team traveling to Consuelo, one of our new sites. One of the reasons I became a teacher was to engage, motivate, and empower students to learn, grow, and succeed. Knowing that Teacher Mentors Abroad believes that effective instructional practices engage and support all learners, regardless of ability or background, I immediately knew that becoming a member of this incredible team of educators was an important part of my own educational journey. But it didn't take me long to realize that Dominican educators also have a strong desire to learn and grow in their own educational journey. They want to be at the forefront of educational reform in the Dominican and to build their instructional skill set and leadership. Unfortunately, COVID put a pause on our in-person work for a couple of years, yet we continued to explore ways to support our Dominican educators virtually. Last year, we were finally able to share some long-awaited hugs and laughter with our mentors when we reconnected in person. At that time, TMA was now ready to expand to rural areas within Dominican Republic, where professional development isn't readily available. It was an opportunity for our Dominican mentors, with the support from the Canadian team, to share the knowledge, leadership, and instructional practices that they have learned. This outreach proved very receptive, positive, and successful. Participants expressed their gratitude for this professional development, as well as their desire to learn more instructional strategies to motivate and engage their students. This summer was my 3rd term in the Dominican Republic, 2nd as a co-lead. At the beginning of August, we supported our Dominican Consuelo mentor team to plan and deliver workshops to 75 participants, using many of the techniques and cooperative learning strategies within the Tribes resource. Our goal was to emphasize the importance of building a classroom community that is respectful and inclusive to all learners. Furthermore, ongoing conversations with our Dominican mentors revealed that the pandemic resulted the students in having significant gaps in literacy skills, particularly with regards to reading. Therefore, 2 members of our Canadian team created and delivered a literacy workshop using the Spanish book, Un Sancocho de Piedra, produced in the Dominican Republic. This story is similar to the story Stone Soup that many of us know. Being a member of TMA is a part of my destiny as an educator. It is there that I can help other educators to realize their own ability to be agents of change. When I work with these amazing educators, they continue to inspire and push me to be a better educator and a better global citizen. The partnerships that I have shared and the professional learning that I have gained has been truly invaluable. I want to conclude by sharing with you an experience from one of the Dominican educators who attended our workshops. She informed us that many of the teachers in her school were struggling with attendance after the winter break. Apparently, the students were not interested in going back to school. In her class, however, all of her students were in attendance. Her administrator asked her what she was doing differently in the classroom to have all of her students be so eager and enthusiastic to want to return to her class. She simply told her administrator that she was implementing the instructional strategies and techniques that she has learned from TMA's workshops. That's why we do what we do. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Wendy. I'll look to trustees now for any questions or comments that they may have. Trustee Miller.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for your presentation, and I'm quite interested in the train-the-trainer model. Can you expound on that, please?
So when we work with the mentors down there, we actually have a book called Mentors 101, and we work with them. We want to build that capacity so that when we leave, they will continue to do the work and spread the knowledge that they've learned from us. So we have a book that we use, Mentors 101, and we work with them on how to deliver workshops to their colleagues, not just their students, right, so that they can teach them when we're gone. And that's what it's all about, build that capacity so that work can continue.
Trustee Cunningham.
Thank you for
Trustee
that
Cunningham.
Thank you for that presentation, Wendy. It was really wonderful to hear about all the things that are happening in the Dominican. I wanted to ask about the PISA scores. I see the ones from 2018, and I was wondering if there's going to be new numbers coming out so we can see some of the changes this has brought forward.
Yeah, there isn't yet. Well, of course, COVID happened since then and put a pause on everything. But, you know, traditionally they are at the bottom, unfortunately, of those scores. It's interesting how they actually decided to take part in that, right? Because normally that is an assessment that's done in Europe. But they see that and they know that, and that's what their goal is. They want to see that and improve and try and do whatever they can to excel. And the interesting thing is, you know, DDSB has been a part of this for a number of years, and we've had over 33 DDSB educators and administrators who have participated in this, including the Director of Education, superintendents, administrators, and teachers. So we'll continue to do this work, and it'll be interesting to see. I'd love to share that with you if more results come out in the future.
Thank you.
Trustee Morton.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Firstly, I'm going to thank you, Wendy, for being here and your wonderful presentation, but I'm thinking that you should perhaps introduce the president of TMA. Could we do that?
I would love to. So the president of TMA is actually here, and that's who I mentioned. It's Nancy Lorraine, who has, she's right behind me right here, who's really the star and has started everything and saw the need for quality education in the Dominican Republic, which is her homeland. And she has really inspired me to be a better teacher, both here and in the Dominican Republic. So thank you for introducing me.
Thank you. Can I have another? I'm wondering if either Wendy or Nancy could share a little bit of information about the annual meeting in October.
Sure.
Is that possible?
I can. Well, I think we're only allowed one presenter. But anyway, so the AGM is on October 21st, and all are welcome to attend. We would love to have any of you attend. It is in Leaksdale at the church. St. Paul's, thank you, at St. Paul's Church in Leaksdale. So we would love to have you in attendance. There will be a director from the Dominican Republic coming, and he will be in attendance. And he is now working at the university. Yes, he's been hired to work at the university down in the Dominican Republic. So he really has an vested interest in TMA. And if you can attend, we would love for all you to meet him as well. And I know that you will be in attendance at the AGM too.
Recommend attendance by anybody and everybody. It's extremely well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm seeing no further comments or questions. So Wendy, thank you so much for coming this evening and presenting the information around this exceptional program. We wish you well in the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Moving on in the agenda then to item 7, and I'll call on our Director of Education, Camille Williams-Taylor, for the Director's update.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. Good evening to everyone, and welcome to the 2023-24 school year. Happy New Year. Today is a special day with classes resuming in most schools. However, I must recognize that in our modified calendar schools, we have had classes continuing since last month. Staff have been hard at work over the past several weeks and months planning and preparing for the return to school, and we're so grateful for the efforts of central staff, clerical and custodial maintenance staff, and ensuring our schools are ready for the school year. And a huge shout out, of course, to our in-school staffs, whether they be ECE, educators, principals, vice principals, EAs, and all of our teaching staff for welcoming the students in a very robust and warm way today. A part of the transitions for our students are, a part of a transition that our students are making back to class includes student transportation to and from school. Based on the relatively small number of delays we saw this morning, it's reasonable to say that the work of Durham's Student Transportation Services staff have put in over the past number of weeks has resulted in a relatively smooth startup from a transportation point of view today. Bus operators are doing all they can to continue to recruit and retain staff, resulting in all routes having drivers to start the year with. We do recognize that enrollment and registration is quite high in a few areas of the district and is ongoing. Students registering who are eligible for transportation may experience some delays of a few days as DSTS continues to work through the routing process. We encourage families to stay up to date with their child's bus route by subscribing to automated notifications through DSTS and the parent portal. The Better Schools and Student Outcomes Act, also known as Bill 98, came into effect on June the 8th and over the summer. School boards across the province have received direction related to updated ministry education regulations and policies to be implemented started this fall. The Act outlines changes that will further prioritize and support student achievement and well-being while increasing transparency for families and school communities around board initiatives. The ministry has prioritized a renewed focus on mathematics, along with expectations for targeted and precise instruction in reading that will include early screening to identify student needs and inform reading instruction. Curriculum changes include revisions to grade 1 to 9 language, financial literacy modules for secondary school students, and a new grade 10 digital technology and innovations in the Changing World course. The goal of the student achievement priority is to help students to improve outcomes in reading, writing, and math, to prepare for future success, and to raise graduation rates, encourage more students to participate in job skills programs, and to take senior math and science courses. Additionally, the intention is to improve student engagement and awareness of mental health supports. Families and students will continue to learn about these renewed priorities through their schools as we implement over the course of the 23-24 school year. We will also highlight some of these developments through presentations and system highlights in our standing committee and board meetings. On behalf of the entire senior team, I'm pleased once again to welcome the entire Durham District School Board community to what is sure to be a successful 2023-2024 school year. Thank you, and that's my update, Chair.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions or comments at all around the Director's report? And I'm seeing none. We have no recommended actions this evening, so I'll move on to item 9, information items, and look to our new student trustees for their report. So trustees Ben Cameron, Kayla Hoare, and Neha Kasoju.
Thank you, Chair. It is great to be back at the board table. And for my co-student trustees sitting beside me, this is their first time, and I would like to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. I am Neha Kasoju, the student trustee representing Whitby, Oshawa for the 2023-24 school year. My main mission as student trustee is to enhance the student experience by fostering hands-on experiences beyond the classroom. Collaborating with students, I aspire to create resources and initiatives to provide DDSB students with the tools to immerse themselves in their passions. Students believe it is essential to explore new activities and gain experiences to better understand their personal goals. I hope to help students achieve this through my work this term. I look forward to amplifying student voice and working with the incredible trustees sitting before me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ben. I'm Kayla Hoare, the newly elected student trustee for Brock, Scugog, and Uxbridge schools for the 2023-24 school year. This year, as student trustee, I want to make it my priority to include all student voices inside of the DDSB, highlight student leadership opportunities, as well as create a stronger outreach towards all schools so they can get more involved with their education. I thank the board for this opportunity to serve my fellow students, and I am ready to get started.
Thank you, and we would like to welcome everyone back to school and wish all of our students good luck in their studies this year. I know that it's certainly going to be an exciting and busy year for me going into senior year. This summer, from July 14th to 16th, I attended Asta Aiko's Leadership Conference to orient the new leadership team into our roles. We discussed strategy, direction, and goals for the year and how we can best advocate for students across the province. Our upcoming leadership meeting downtown will be on September 23rd, and our first conference this year, very exciting, the Fall General Meeting, is taking place from October 19th to 22nd. As well, Asta Aiko is putting on a student trustee orientation with the ministry on September 12th and September 14th for incoming student trustees. We have a lot of exciting things planned for this year at Asta Aiko, and I'll be sure to keep the board updated.
Meeting this year will be on October 5th from 8:30 to 11:30. We are thrilled to meet and work with all of our new and some returning senators this year. That's all for this month. Thank you, and we'd love to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for our new trustees? Yes, Trustee Cunningham.
No questions at this time, but I wanted to welcome our two new trustees. Welcome to the team. It's great to have you, and Ben, it's great to have you back.
So thank you very much to Ben, Kayla, and Neha. So moving on to item 9B, this year we're going to be calling on some of our own trustees to present information around Canadian Congress of Black Parliamentarians Conference that they attended in Ottawa this summer. So I will call on trustees Tracy Brown, Stephen Linton, and Kelly Miller for their report.
Thank you, and through you, Chair. The Canadian Congress of Black Parliamentarians. From August 9th through to August 11th, 45 politicians from across Canada representing different levels of government, including school board trustees, gathered in Ottawa to have a robust and meaningful discussion regarding issues that impact the Black community nationwide. We acknowledge the unique history and the experiences faced by Black Canadians, including systemic racism and the challenges that continue to persist. Main themes were education and youth, noting that there is work to do right across the nation to address these challenges. We have made a commitment to continue national dialogue through an integrated approach that includes all levels of government and academia, aiming to improve educational and healthcare systems and enhance community and economic development.
All 45 members of the Canadian Congress of Black Parliamentarians jointly affirmed their commitment to matters such as capacity building, disaggregated data, Black perspectives on healthcare, well-being, community engagement, culture preservation, education systems, and economic development. Our united efforts are geared towards achieving these objectives, ensuring outreach to our underserved communities, working collectively with distinction, committing to acknowledge anti-Black racism, combating systemic racism, and preserving and promoting Black culture and heritage. We are committed to ensuring that legislation at all levels of government reflects the issues of concern in racialized and underserved communities.
We will be steadfast as we seek equity for Black communities. We will continue to meet quarterly and in person annually to ensure our mission and vision are being actioned across Canada. As trustees and representatives of OBSPA's Black Trustee Caucus, we continue to work with staff and community to address the issues and inequities that face the Black community. However, we are also committed to addressing the issues that transcend race with our fellow colleagues, all three levels of government, and the Durham community at large. Updates will be provided to our colleagues and Durham residents as they become available. We would like to thank our chair and staff for supporting our efforts to attend this meaningful symposium.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments for trustees? I'm seeing none, so I'd like to thank trustees Brown, Linton, and Miller for your presentation. I'd like to call on trustee Cunningham for the Hotspur report.
Thank you, and through you, Chair, there is no report at this time.
Thank you very much. So before I adjourn the meeting, I would like to just remind trustees that we will be having a very brief 5-minute recess before we head back into the other room. As there is no further business, I would like to adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everyone.